Prime Video's limited series The Girlfriend might just become your next favorite binge. It's got Wright and Olivia Cooke squaring off over the same man in a thrilling case of she said, she said. Laura's idyllic life is shattered when her son's new girlfriend seems suspicious. Determined to protect him, Laura's actions spiral out of control, raising the question, is she justifiably cautious or consumed by paranoia? This is based on the novel by Michelle Francis and is an unhinged thriller that has two dynamic and captivating leads who just know how to spar brilliantly. Wright plays Laura, the overprotective and clingy mom to her late 20-something son. The relationship, it appears to be mutual, but still very unhealthy and lacking in some serious boundaries. Wright not only stars in this, but she also directed several of the episodes. And she's excellent in the role because she's able to come across as both protective and unreasonably suspicious. Her mannerisms vacillate between caring and concerned to creepy and twisted. Wright balances the dual sides of the personality well. And I say personality, but really it could just be perception. As the story plays out, we get to see events from both Laura's perspective and then from Cherry's, Cooke's girlfriend character, to Laura's son Daniel. Now, through Laura's eyes, she's obviously the heroine, attempting to protect her son from a scheming and potentially dangerous young woman who might just be preying on him for his access to wealth and status. And although we watch Laura make decisions that aren't upright or just, she rationalizes her actions out of a misguided belief that she's doing what's best for her kid. And on the flip side, we get to see Cherry's perspective, where, just like with Laura, Cherry is the heroine of her own tale, made to be a villain by Laura. Now, Cooke is commanding in her role. She's just this side of sketchy, so there is room for doubt as to her legitimate feelings. But because we get to see the story from her viewpoint also, we're made privy to motivations and background that Laura doesn't know or even see, using assumptions and conjecture to base her opinions and actions, even though she has a limited scope of things. Just like with Wright, Cooke is able to craft a character who is convincing as both a loving partner and a conniving opportunist. The limited series, it's 6 episodes, and thanks to both the amazing writing and the captivating performances, I couldn't hit the next episode button fast enough just to find out where the story's going to go. It's an aggravating, even excruciating ride because the emotional roller coaster that we're taken on, it's harried, suspenseful, and twisty. And then there are the bad decisions. I'm not even going to say who makes them, but the doubling down on lies, deceit, and scheming work to create a storyline that's intense and maddening. And the best part is, who do you root for and root against? Both lead characters have positive qualities, but they also possess some gnarly darkness inside as well. So while you may be on one person's side for a bit, that perspective and allegiance can shift as new events unfold, creating a confusing set of emotions about both Laura and Cherry. And then we got the collateral damage characters within the storyline. There's Daniel, the boyfriend, Howard, Laura's husband, Tracy, Cherry's mom, and then Isabella and Brigitte, who are close family friends of Laura's. Now, they're all caught up in the treachery that takes place between the warring women. Most of the time, these characters are unsuspecting victims in the twisted game that's playing out. But thanks to their alliances and loyalties, at least for some of the time, they add to a lot of the compelling drama. The storylines play out like a massive train wreck. I mean, we can see the carnage that's about to ensue, but I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. And even though I thought several of the story elements and the actions were predictable, it somehow didn't reduce the stress that I was feeling. I think a lot of that just comes down to the visceral delivery of the actors. They create such dynamic personas, albeit ones that can be exaggerated, but I was never sure if I wanted to love or hate them, and sometimes it was both at the same time. A strength within the plot is how the character development unfolds. It's not all dumped on us at the beginning, but is patiently revealed over the entire series. Now, this helps to obscure some of the personalities, so we can't make an outright immediate judgment on a character. Both Laura and Cherry, they're flawed and suffering from trauma, and several parallels can be drawn between the two. So, do they clash because they're more alike than they care to admit, or do their individual shortcomings prevent them from acting in rational manners? Now, there are some elements that feel glossed over when it comes to the backgrounds of our characters. Now, for instance, with Laura and Howard's marriage, it's not necessarily a traditional setup. And while it's not really hugely important within the overall story, We don't get any explanation, even rationalization, until much later in the show, raising questions that didn't even need to be raised because they didn't add or detract from the main arc. The story relies on several plot conveniences to fully play out also, so that the characters' ploys can be realized. And I didn't mind this too much, but it does require us as the audience to accept that certain characters will just simply ignore interactions or blindly go along with whatever the dominant character at that moment says. Had we not been given the alternating viewpoints of the story, I think these conveniences would be way more troublesome. But there's a bit of the unknown when it comes to all the facts, because we only have each particular character's point of view to establish the supposed truth. Now, the examination of relationships and boundaries, it's an interesting one within the series. I became frustrated with Daniel because his emotional growth was excruciatingly slow. Even when confronted by some truths, he couldn't make the decisions that he should. And there is a certain amount of reality in this, showcasing the power and influence that love and devotion can have on a person, even if it's wielded in an unhealthy manner. And the struggle is what keeps the series taut and stressful. We get to see the dysfunction on all sides and then watch characters make decisions that go counter to what logic says they should do. Rationality doesn't always come into play when dealing with close relationships, and the series exploits this to place characters in situations that test their mettle and force them into some morally ambiguous conundrums. This show was a blast to binge. There are plot conveniences thrown in to prevent characters from inquiring too deeply into elements that would derail attention, and then some background feels a little light or comes on too late within the storytelling. But both Robin Wright and Olivia Cooke craft nuanced performances, leading to equally shady and kind-hearted personas that will endear and polarize. The story elements can be predictable, but thanks to varied perspectives and the potential for unreliable narration, the arcs play out in thrilling schemes and twisted strategies that seldom leave anyone unscathed. And at the end, we're left with the most important question of all. Who did you root for, and were they justified in their actions? There is a lot of sex, a little bit of nudity, a lot of profanity, and then some violence. I give The Girlfriend 4.5 out of 5 couches. Have you seen any good thrillers lately? I would love to get some recommendations in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.